Hi, in this video we're going to be talking about gluten-free food labels, and is the gluten-free food actually healthy for us? I think there's a misconception that the gluten-free food on the shelves is healthy. And I hate to burst people's bubbles, but that's not always the case. So I went shopping to one of our local supermarkets today, and I've just taken a few videos around, and we're going to just talk about going shopping, looking at food labels, and is gluten-free food actually healthy for us? So let's take a look around where I live, Discovery Bay North Plaza, and let's come inside Marketplace, which is one of our local stores. I love the layout of this shop. I love the fact when you walk in, you've got all that fresh produce and all the colour, and it just hits you. And I find that fabulous. But it's taken me several years to get to that point, and I still remember the first time I walked around the supermarket and I cried. This was 25 years ago, over 25 years ago. There was not a free-from aisle. I had my book from the Coeliac Society, which they sent you annually, and then they sent out updates for it. So you had to cross it through and write up the new item. And that was my list. So I would look through each section of this book, biscuits or soup or whatever, and I would see if it was allocated as gluten-free. I'm not even sure we had gluten-free labels 25 years ago. And I found it so disheartening walking into a supermarket that I would just literally go to the fresh produce, the meat, and I would skip pretty much everything else and walk out. And it took me, I would say it took me a couple of years to get to the point that I could walk around the supermarket. Today I walk around and I look at this delicious, fresh vegetables, fruit. I look at the meats, and there's certain aisles I go up to and really look through the stuff. And there, of course, there are aisles, but I know I can't really look at the biscuit aisle. You know, the cakes, the pastries, the breads. I never go to those counters. They do have some gluten-free food on there occasionally in some of the supermarkets, but I tend to make my own as well. So why do I make my own? Because I've looked at the food labels. I make my own ice cream. I make my own bread. When you start looking at food labels, they can actually be quite frightening. I think we've all heard about the food labels and why has a basic tomato sauce for a lasagna got so much sugar and salt in it. And I think there's been a lot of documentation about how much sugar and salt and oil perhaps manufacturers are putting in our food, and it doesn't need to be there. But there's also the controversial ingredients, the artificial sweeteners, the MSGs, the caffeine. Do these items need to be in there, or are some of them there just to prolong the shelf life? So as I talk to my clients, one thing I talk to them about is food labels, and I ask them to start looking at their food labels and thinking about whether they can use that item less often or whether they can switch to another brand. And I think as creatures of habit, we tend to walk into a supermarket and we go straight to the Dolmio sauce, or we go straight to the Heinz baked beans. It's what we know, and we don't look around to see how much sugar's in these items, and we don't think about, is there an alternative for us? So it's one thing I talk about is food labels, and just to open their eyes. Ice cream. The Happy Cow ice cream we pick up, or the sorbet we pick up, doesn't have much oil in it. The ice cream and sorbet I make at home does have absolutely no oil in it. But I know there are some that has quite a high content of oil. I'm not here to frighten people. I'm just here and I help my clients look at the options they have. And I ask them to think about, is there a way to switch? And then I move on and I will share recipes. So I will share basic tomato sauce recipe for pastas, and I will share them my ice cream recipe. If they're local to me, I will take them on a food shop, in that we look at all the local supermarkets around us and we research into where the gluten-free or dairy-free options are. And I think that's really beneficial, because I think when you're new on this, I don't like to use the word diet, when you're changing the food you eat, I think it can be beneficial to go with somebody else who's in the same process as you, but perhaps further along, and they can help you and guide you as to what you can and can't have. I live in Hong Kong. Soy sauce. There's one bottle of soy sauce on the shelves, and trust me, there's one bottle of soy sauce on the shelf that I can have, sorry. There are lots of different types of soy sauce on the shelves. There's one bottle that I can have, which is gluten-free. But a lot of clients don't realise that soy sauce contains gluten. And you go down this rabbit hole of information and looking at food. And so it is really beneficial to start checking your labels, especially if you're gluten-free and dairy-free. So what do I offer clients? I offer them the same, it just works slightly different, obviously. If they're local to me, then we will go shopping, or I'll pop round and I'll look in their house and their cupboards with them, and I'll show them what they can have and what they can't have. We'll discuss it in that manner. If they are not close and we do Google Meets or Zoom Meets, then it's more of a virtual experience. We will discuss their food cupboard over the Google Meet, and we will do a virtual shop. So I'll find out what their local shop is, I'll go online to that shop, and I'll bring up ingredients, food items that they may not have thought about or considered, and we'll discuss ways of changing their diet in that manner. My son once came home from school and somebody said, I wish I had your food intolerances, I would eat so much more healthier if I did. And I think that is a common misconception, that because we have food intolerances, we eat healthy. But just like everyone else, we have the choice to pick up processed foods from the supermarket shelves. And not all of these choices we have are healthy for us. I've had 25 years of experience of being a coeliac. I'm fortunate in that manner, and my children are fortunate because I've had 25 years of cooking this way. So when you're in the supermarket and you're checking those labels, please check the product label as well as the label underneath it. So for example, this cheese, it says it was dairy-free. It's not. It is not dairy-free. The label beside the cheese is wrong. So somebody could have picked that up in a rush thinking, this is great, this is dairy-free cheese. That cheese is not dairy-free. Can I see the ingredients? So just to share with you, this is our shopping list at the end of the day. We are a normal family. There was fruit, there was vegetables, there was some meat in there. It wasn't a big shop, it was a small shop. And of course, there was a treat, there was a bottle of Sprite at the bottom. But this was our shopping list. As you can see, most of it was fresh produce or meat. So what do I bring to the relationship of client and coach? Well, we don't just talk about food diaries and whether the gluten-free food is healthy. And as you'll see in this sessions of videos I'm pushing out over the next year, there's quite a lot to talk about. And it's not just about necessarily the food we eat, as we'll move on. It's also about our lifestyle and how we can improve our overall health through changing our lifestyle slightly. But what I do bring to the client relationship is my own knowledge, and I can assure you I've been through all the emotions that you've been through. I was diagnosed over 25 years ago at the age of 20. I'd had a childhood full of misdiagnosis, of pain, of not knowing what was wrong with me. And that continued until I was 20 years old. I live with autoimmune conditions now. I have children who are both gluten and dairy free. I have cried in supermarkets because of the cake I haven't been able to eat. I have felt lost not knowing what I can eat. I have struggled with recipes because they don't rise or they don't work the way as normal recipes. And this is all the way I help my clients. And my role as a coach is to empower you as my client so that after the end of the program, if you sign up for 3 months, 6 months, or however long you sign up or feel comfortable or feel that you would need me to help you, at the end of it, you feel empowered enough to step out and have the courage to lead your life fully. There are so many aspects to changing to a gluten-free, dairy-free lifestyle that friends and family perhaps don't appreciate or understand. I have cried in restaurants because I have felt there is nothing for me to eat except another salad. Salads are healthy, but sometimes we want that chocolate cake. So, in summary, is gluten-free food healthy? No, not all of it. It depends what you pick up. I don't tell my clients or my children to stay away from the free-from aisle. If they want to pick up millionaire shortbread or biscuits or that gluten-free chocolate cake, then pick it up, enjoy it, live life to the fullest. But perhaps don't eat it every day. Perhaps serve the chocolate cake with some berries. Just become aware of the food you are eating, because awareness can change your life. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, subscribe to our newsletters. I'm going to push out so much more information about how you can heal your life, how you can heal from being misdiagnosed for years, and you will feel so different. This is information I normally only share in my client sessions. I feel empowered in 2023. I feel I need to get my voice out, and I need to help so many people than I already am to change their life and to live a deliciously gluten-free, dairy-free life.